Shalom, family. Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. Just want to send you a reminder you can get the hair growth spray, which is the Chebe, and my hair growth spray, which is rosemary clove. And that is 25% off if you want to get that over on Etsy. All right. So, everybody, we're going to talk about the farmers. And I don't feel bad for these white farmers. They were the ones that ran out and voted for Donald Trump. They voted against immigration and ended up losing 100% of their workforce. Well, many of you might have heard about these white farmers were in a group over there on X talking about us, the Black community, was going to come and work the farms because we didn't have no jobs. Now, that is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my entire existence. How are we making it in this country with no job? Okay. I mean, how does that even make sense? So even other white people had to tell these farmers, no, Black people got jobs. What are you talking about? They got jobs. Now, some of you may even be wondering, because I know I've heard the stories about how many of them disappeared from the detention center. There's a reason for that. They can stay if they will agree to go on these farms. And that's where many of them went. They went to work on farms. And that offer is still on the table for them. If they will go and work on farms, they're not going to make them leave. So, ladies and gentlemen, just a thought of them believing we were going to come and take those jobs is downright insulting. We ain't coming under y'all like that anymore. You got to be out of your mind to believe that's even a possibility. Number one, you got a long, ugly history. If we show up on those farms and work, first thing you going to do is mistreat us. You're going to try to talk down to us because you can't help yourself. You're going to start trying to talk down to us. Then you'll be pointing your little lazy finger all over the place, screaming about what needs to be done. We ain't coming under you like that. And that's the nature of your people. This is what y'all do. It's just a matter of seconds before you start treating us inhumanely. And you do this to these migrants. I've even seen articles where some of these migrants have been punched, slapped, cussed at on these farms. They don't treat these migrants but so great, y'all. Don't think they're giving them, you know how they are. If you don't look like them, you don't get the best treatment. You don't. So, no, we ain't ever coming under y'all like that again. Ever. And y'all need to get these fantasies about us going back in slavery. We ain't hardly coming back to be none of your slaves. Let me repeat that again. We ain't hardly coming back to be none of your slaves. You better go get Billy Bob and Susie out of college and bring them onto your farm and tell them they can't go to school because they need the help on the farm. That's what you better do this time around. You better go gather up your family members wherever they are and tell them you need help with your farm. Getting us out there talking about some slave, you ain't hardly enslaving us. Do you realize we're armed too? And if it comes down to being your slave and surviving, we gonna survive. You won't. Do you know you would actually be putting your life on the line trying to enslave us? If you think this is going to be a repeat of the 1600s, you got another thought coming. I'm just letting you know. Enslaving us is not an option for any of you. Not an option. So, y'all, let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay. I don't feel bad for you because you did this to yourselves. You ran out there and voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump spoke all over the campaign trail about mass deportation. And many of you knew 100% of your workforce were illegals. What the hell did you think was going to happen? So you do this to yourself, but it's Black men and women that should come to your rescue? Are you insane? No, 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 no. That ain't going to happen. So since you did this to yourself, you get out of it the best way you can without us. Period.
Why not just hire people from here?
Yeah, so we would love to hire people from here. The reality is we can't find the numbers of people here. We're in a rural area, number one. Number two, this is hard work. It is difficult work. And there are lots of people that are not willing to do it.
There is a clear directive from the administration that they want mass deportation. That is impacting then our labor force. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's absolutely impacting the labor force, and the president said so himself. He said the aggressive raids are hurting our farmers. Somewhere between 50 and 60% of our farm labor workforce is undocumented immigrants. If we were to deport them all overnight, then that's 60% of the workforce. That means higher prices for them at the grocery store.
You truly cannot make this stuff up, bro. To address farm labor shortage, Trump administration turns to migrant workers. Not a headline that I would really expect to see, right? But it turns out that because there is a labor shortage in the agricultural sector here in the US, aka farm workers mostly, the Trump administration has just made it cheaper for American farmers to sponsor and hire H-2A agricultural workers. For those of you guys that do not know what H-2A is, it is a temporary work visa program. Yes, you heard that right. Visa program under this administration that they're facilitating so American farmers can basically hire folks from other countries that want to come work in their farms here in the US temporarily. Of course, there's a shortage because number one, the immigration raids and Trump's overall immigration policy has scared people away from working on many of these farms, right? But number two, we know that most natural born American citizens that claim to be the most hardworking, those that claim we're stealing their jobs, would never work. These extremely difficult, extremely demanding, and extremely important jobs that keep the US economy running and keep you and me fed with groceries in our stores. So to help alleviate this labor shortage, this administration has adjusted how wages are paid to H-2A farm workers, right? Lowering them between $1 and $7 depending on the state. Farm owners can now also include housing as part of the compensation package they provide to guest farm workers. Many farmers have celebrated those changes made to an increasingly popular visa program, as I told you guys, H-2A, noting the difficulty in hiring American workers and tough economic conditions for the industry. Now, it's important to note that the United Farm Workers of America have filed a lawsuit against the administration for this reduction in wages of H-2A workers. They argue that the rule will adversely harm American farm workers by lowering their wages as well as pushing them out of the labor force entirely. And it is true that the H-2A program has historically had issues with exploitation, human trafficking, labor trafficking, all that stuff. But many people from places like Mexico, Central America, Jamaica, a lot of different countries take that chance and they enter this program to come work in the US temporarily because they earn their income, even if it's lower, in US dollars, and then that translates to more money in their national currency, right? Isn't it crazy how they love us for our labor? They love Latinos for their labor. They love immigrants from other countries for their labor, but they don't love them for anything else. God forbid you give them any kind of permanent legal status to be dignified in this country. All while you brutalize us on the streets, racially profile us, jail us, deport us, do all kinds of abhorrent things to our community. Donald Trump es un descarado.
You know what? He's full of shit. Oh, but I thought y'all be boasting that you got a country. You got a country you can go to. Well, then go. If you feel like, oh, they're mistreating us, they're doing this, they're grabbing, they're profiling, go home. Go home. Don't y'all be boasting all the time about, I got a country to go to. I got a country. Don't y'all be saying that? Then why are you sticking around for the abuse then? Dummy. I don't feel bad for you. Go home.
You're right. Farmers do hire illegal immigrants because they get them for cheaper, and they also provide them with housing. I was offered $15K to bring each individual illegal immigrant, but the charge would be federal charges if I got caught. They came with fake IDs, etc. I've already said this on this app. I have to I just need to play a broken record. I should start taping myself and just playing the same thing, because straight up, why is everybody so concerned about farm workers, but yet y'all, there's people like me, English people, who literally work on fucking farms or have worked on farms. See, they hire kids, like other people said in the comments, they hire kids that want to make a few bucks, like $15 an hour, to go throw some hay bales. I was one of those kids who threw hay bales, who did all that shit, who scraped cow shit, etc., horse shit, etc. I did all that. I made good money doing that. I worked my ass off. 92-degree heat. I was flipping rocks in the field. I worked my ass off.
Hi, we have news. Trump is looking to recruit immigrant farm workers because we have a shortage of workers on farms. So yes, he's looking to, yes, I can't make this up. This is really real life. Apparently they deported so many farm workers that they're now reaching out to migrant farm workers.
As usual, another one of Donald Trump's stupid failed policies blew up in his face, and now he's trying to just pretend it didn't happen. Because when he first started his mass deportations, just like experts predicted and like we all said for months, it's going to raise unemployment. It's also going to cause prices to go up and cause food shortages because half of our agricultural workforce are migrants. And of course, somehow, because us dumb average people here on TikTok are somehow smarter than the genius businessman, we now also have massive labor shortages, which Trump is now trying to replace with migrant workers. He's making it cheaper to hire migrant farm workers on temporary visas under H-2A. So hilariously, after the Republicans for decades claiming that immigrants are taking our jobs, Trump got rid of the jobs that the migrants were working, and now he's actually replacing American workers with cheap migrant labor, making it so they can forcibly be paid less, too. It's displacing farm workers that have been working in the fields and putting food on their dinner tables for decades, bringing in a workforce that is even more vulnerable to abuse. But this has been going on in the
See, this is why Republicans are dumb. They are dumb. If you go look at Mar-a-Lago, do you know all of Donald Trump's workers are immigrants? Everybody he hires for Mar-a-Lago are immigrants. So what makes you think he's not going to start replacing Americans? He won't even hire Americans for Mar-a-Lago. He won't hire any. Everybody's a foreigner. So if he's doing that, what makes you think he's interested in hiring Americans? And on top of that, Donald Trump got a history of screwing people out of money. So you think a person like that is going to look out for American workers and make sure you get a good income? Hell no. Hell no. This man don't even want to pay the people that are working for him. He ain't going to make sure you got some job with some good wages. It'll be the exact opposite. And for y'all to vote for this man believing he cares about you, he don't give a shit about none of y'all. But see, now many of them are slowly getting it. When you go on TikTok, you see more and more of them on videos leaving MAGA, leaving Donald Trump. But what took you so long? Everybody knew this about Donald Trump. Damn, kind of slow there, huh? I guess that's part of having a high IQ. You kind of slow.
The Republican Party for fucking decades. They create a problem or pretend that something is a huge problem, and then their way to fix it is to make the whole thing worse or to make that false prophecy come true. The best example is the transgender bathroom bills. They made a huge hullabaloo about transgender people attacking women in bathrooms, which never fucking happens. But they hyped it up as if it was this huge problem, so we needed to address it. So then they started making bathroom bans where they said that transgender people had to use the bathroom of the gender they were assigned at birth. So now in places where they've enacted these laws, they are forcing people who have fully transitioned with a big, huge beard to go into women's bathrooms. Hey presto, they suddenly created the problem that was not there to begin with. So just to recap here, Republicans have been claiming for years that Democrats are coming for your guns. And the only president who said he advocates taking away people's guns without due process is Donald Trump. The Republicans have been claiming for years that every Democrat is a pedophile, yet the people who are overwhelmingly in the Epstein files with Donald Trump as the ringmaster are Republicans. It's also the Republicans who keep crashing Grindr and keep getting caught for soliciting young teenage boys. The Republicans have been claiming that Democrats are the party of war, yet Donald Trump is starting wars with everyone all over the fucking planet. They claim that Democrats want to raise taxes as Trump cuts taxes for billionaires and raises them on the rest of us. And now we've come full circle with their hypocrisy yet again, as they are hiring cheap migrant labor in order to take American jobs.
In breaking news, Brooke Reynolds, the agricultural secretary, said we have to combat the lack of migrant workers by hiring migrant workers. So after the immense push for deportation raids on construction and farms and whatnot, it's now led to a financial crisis, especially for farmers. And the answer, according to the United States government, is to hire migrant workers. This comes because 4,000 agricultural jobs, farming jobs were posted since last year, and 148 Americans were applied and hired to those positions of 4,000. Okay, and these are permanent jobs, not just part-time or seasonal. These are permanent. And this goes to the argument when they scream they took our jobs. Yeah, well, the migrants weren't there. They posted the jobs legally, and Americans never came to the call, which means that this whole rhetoric that they took our jobs seems to have been a lie the whole time. Or you can just confirm that with the agricultural secretary and Trump, who are saying we have to combat the lack of migrant workers. Y'all, if this ain't a joke, I don't know what else this administration could be. Y'all have a good day.
You want to get rid of illegal immigrants, quit eating. And that's for everybody. That's, nationwide. If you want to get rid of them, quit eating. That'll solve the problem.
But when only 5 pickers showed up this morning to harvest his sweet potatoes, farmer Keith Smith saw possible ruin, the loss of his $500,000 crop.
They're running scared because of this new law.
And you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, bad trouble.
Smith's 200 acres need 20 pickers, mostly Mexican nationals.
There is not enough documented people here to supply that workforce.
Most of your workers are here illegally.
That's sure. If they got documentation, they got a better job working for me.
Fernando Aldeman, a Mexican national, has worked Smith's farm since 1992. Everybody's just scared.
Yeah.
Now, are you here legally? No.
No.
So, are you scared?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared,
Smith's pickers make about $100 a day. He supports immigration laws, just not this one that threatens his third-generation family.
Anybody see this piece from the New York Times? To address farm labor shortage, Trump administration turns to migrant workers. What the fuck? Of course there's a migrant shortage, a labor shortage. I mean, what the fuck did he expect would happen? These crazy deportations where you have these militant brown shirts on the streets throwing people in gulags. And now he wants to know, well, what the fuck? Now we have a fucking labor shortage. The administration has quietly acknowledged in recent months that its immigration raids and crackdown on the border have aggravated this issue, the labor shortage. So it has instead turned to an alternative source, making it cheaper for farmers to hire immigrant farm workers on temporary visas. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm laughing because it's fucking insane. What do you guys think about this? So now farmers are
Well, yeah, it's insane because they created the problem. They created the problem. And now they're running around talking about, we got to hire migrants. You caused the damn problem. See, once again, this is the Trump administration doing things and not thinking things clearly through. Why do you think this war has been a disaster? You couldn't have the dumbest, most ignorant people in charge of this country right now. You created the damn problem. You sent ICE on these farms, grabbing up these illegals. And now you want the same migrants that you ran off to come back and work the farms. So you broke it. Now you trying to fix it. Boy, y'all, the Most High was not lying when he said these are the basis of all men. He did not lie. He did not lie at all.
We're actually celebrating these changes because they're making it cheaper. They're making it cheaper for these farmers to hire migrants. But these migrants don't want to fucking work because they're scared. I hate it here. I absolutely fucking hate it here. Let me know what you think about this bullshit.
We have an agriculture labor shortage, but don't you worry. President Trump has a solution. New reports are indicating that the Trump administration is considering expanding migrant farm worker programs. And this comes after ICE aggressively detained and deported a lot of farm workers. And even though these Mexicans were stealing their jobs, nobody's stepping up to take these jobs. Now we have an agriculture labor shortage. Kind of like the Bracero program repeating itself all over again. Now, this discussion surfaced during policy meetings in Washington, D.C., and that's where federal officials and agriculture leaders warned that farms across the country are struggling to find workers, in particular for planting and harvesting. Shocker, right? And right now, 4 states are feeling the shortage: California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. So like the Bracero program, where the United States government went into Mexico to seek workers, the Trump administration is thinking of doing the same thing with H-2A visas. Now, while many people are like, well, that's a legal way to do it, you forget that ICE was still detaining and deporting people who were here legally with legal, legit visas, which the H-2A is a visa. And they were also deporting people with H-2A visas and just canceling their visas because they felt like it. I think Trump's friends, who are all farm owners, began complaining to Trump about their shortage because nobody is going to work these really hard jobs. And if they do, they're not fast, accurate, and motivated the way the people that got deported were. Ironic, isn't it? But it's like we warned everybody this was going to happen. We saw this happen back in the 1920s with the Mexican Reparation Act, and then with Operation BACK. And each time they had to go get people from Mexico to come back into the United States to work because Americans weren't doing that job, even though, Mexicans were stealing their jobs. But let me know what you think in the comments below.
The United States needs more immigrants. This is according to Brooke Rollins, the Secretary of Agriculture. Now, a New York Times article covers all of the changes that have occurred under Brooke Rollins' leadership, including allowing farmers to pay H-2A visa applicants up to $7 an hour less than they were previously receiving, and have their housing and any food be deducted from their pay, which is something they weren't allowed to do prior. Now, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has made all of those things legal and feasible for farmers in an attempt to allow them to bring in more H-2A applicants. Multiple studies have shown that Donald Trump's promise that 100% of farm workers would be U.S. citizens, well, it's not happening. In fact, according to the Department of Agriculture's own data, over 400,000 job postings for seasonal and full-time farm work were posted last year in Donald Trump's first full year as president. And, well, only 182 of those positions were filled by U.S. citizens. So the majority of farm work goes to migrants. And even in the undocumented migrant world, the majority of the workers in the fields are not undocumented. Undocumented farm workers, according to the New York Times, make up a minuscule portion of the farm workers that are out there. But because of Donald Trump's immigration raids, farms across California that are reliant on these farm workers full-time on H-2A visas to help their farms run, they've seen that about 20% of their staff on any given day does not show up because of fears about immigration raids. Even though they're in the country legally, they've seen their friends, their families, and their coworkers disappear. So Brooke Rollins says that this will all help farmers. This will be an economic boon to them. This will allow them to get rid of one of the largest costs that they have, which is manpower, and it will allow them to put more money in their pockets while stripping money from the people actually in the fields, actually doing the work.
So, y'all, let them all go down together. Workers, farmers, all of them. I don't care. Trump administration, well, we already watching them fall to the bottom of the abyss. We're watching it in real time. And now these farmers, don't feel bad for them. Most of these white farmers got stolen land that they took from black farmers. Never forget that. And that land is still there. It still exists. And they got it. And many of them got it for free. Didn't have to pay a dime for it. So at the end of the day, this judgment was bound to come. It was bound to come. And look, y'all, at the end of the day, look at how they got things set up. Remember, they were the slave catchers and would drag, whenever they could catch us, they would drag us back to these plantations. Now, look at the irony. This is why a lot of these Latinos are facing judgment. Look at what's going on. Donald Trump himself came out and said most ICE agents are Latinos. And what are these Latino ICE agents doing? Running down their own people. You can't make it up. Judgment is here for all of y'all. It really, truly is. And the war is also showing you too. America can't even win. It's showing you all of the world is under judgment. Look at the Straits of Hormuz. You got all these ships and these countries that desperately depend on the oils and goods, and they can't get none of it because of Trump's blockade. So yes, the judgment is real. The judgment is here, and it will not get better for any of these nations out here. Not now, not ever. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for being here. I am working on a few more lives, and you should see those within the next few hours. Shalom, family.